Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of Surviving on the Ice Sheet. If you haven't seen the previous parts, you can click here to watch them. We left off after having sheltered our second colonist. We know that he was not going to be long for this world, but we were going to use him to get rid of the polar bear. So I tried setting up a small sort of kill box that I could bait the polar bear in and hope that he would be injured enough to pass away. And to be honest, it wasn't looking great because I don't really have much experience with building stuff like this. But anyways, our food stores were still looking good, but we had just gotten rid of the last piece of human meat. And in the future we would probably be eating waltz. This was also recorded before I started naming people after my commenters, so this is why I haven't named Waltz after anyone yet. I had also stolen Walt's toque, which is the beanie on my head, which allowed me to stay out way longer in the cold, which was an excellent get. So I eventually came up with this construction, and the idea was that Waltz would just try to lead him through both of the traps, and that would be enough to kill the polar bear. So just as I was thinking how to get the polar bear aggro without getting Waltz killed, he started hunting him himself. So I tried to do my plan and brought Waltz in. I figured that the polar bear would at least be forced to trigger 2 traps before getting to Waltz, but it didn't trigger a single one. And then Waltz wasn't able to hit the polar bear at all, and it was a close call for my character to get out of there. At this point I had no idea what I could do except let Waltz be eaten and have my guy retreat and wait for the polar bear to leave. After Waltz had died, I decided to try and take his body, or what was left of it, and butcher it myself so I had some more human meat. My issue with the polar bear was not resolved, but it was at least temporarily paused due to Waltz satisfying his hunger. A day later, our first caravan arrived. I figured this was a blessing because the polar bear would for sure attack them and then get himself killed. Some more snow hares had appeared on the map and I just wanted to fill my food stocks. For now the polar bear had not attacked the caravan yet, so I was getting a little worried. And then the caravan ended up leaving without the polar bear being angered, and he was still circling my base, waiting for me to come out. The next day I decided to build a small bedroom. I figured that my character could use something nice, and I assumed that the geyser would be warm enough to heat up all 3 of these rooms. But while I started eating the last piece of my food, I got food poisoning, which, as you know, increases hunger and also makes you way less capable of doing anything. So I was in great danger, especially considering the polar bear was the only animal still out there. So as I was starving, I realized the only way I could survive is if I take another trip to the tundra, hoping this one would go at least a little better now that I got the toque. But then I realized it also was fall now and not spring, so it was a whole lot colder. So I would definitely be suffering from hypothermia, and it might even be more than last time. When I arrived, I realized this was way colder than I expected, and I had to quickly look for food before I left. I didn't have the luxury of collecting wood like last time, so I had to make it very quick. But while I was setting up my bedroll, I realized 2 manhunting guinea pigs attacked me. I managed to kill both of them in one hit without even getting hit myself once. And right above the guinea pigs was a dead lynx which must have been killed by the polar bear earlier. This would be a nice source of food from the start. So after butchering the lynx and then butchering a dead rabbit, I decided to go back because I already started shivering. I then had to sleep outside at night, which was also very bad for my hypothermia. Now I had gotten a Wanderer join event from someone named Mason, but I wouldn't want to accept this right now considering I'm not home yet. And also I probably would end up eating this guy considering I didn't have any food currently. So I decided to just return home and then see what I would do from there. Now when I finally did return home, I was suffering from severe hypothermia and I had lost one of my toes due to frostbite. It was not looking good and it did not seem like I would make it back myself, so I had to get this guy. I would later rename him to one of my viewers who commented down below, but right now I just had to focus on getting my character home safe. So I was trying to figure out what exactly I could do, but eventually I just had to wait until my character went down so I could pick him up and drag him. And while all this was happening, we had another raider show up. This guy was nothing special, so I wasn't too worried about being able to take him out. 1 melee skill or 2 melee skill was not that good. And the new guy that I had gotten had pretty decent melee, so he'd be able to take him out. Now Ono had suffered a lot of frostbite, and I was very worried about him getting an infection and dying. He kept waking up and falling back down due to his injuries, and I was worried that he would end up dying from this. A couple hours later, when Ono had woken up, Mason was out getting his stuff while the raider was still down there, but somehow the polar bear and the raider both decided to attack at the same time, so Mason had to make a crazy run for it while being chased by the polar bear and before the raider could also stop him. I contemplated using my little death trap, but then I realized how shit it was after it failed on me last time, so I tried keeping the door open for Mason, but somehow it closed on him, but he managed to get inside safely right on time. The raider had just arrived, and so did the polar bear. And luckily the polar bear started attacking the raider instead of trying to help him get to us. So with the raider dead and the polar bear fed again, we were safe once more for a couple days. But the polar bear was once again uninjured, which was real sad, because I desperately needed it dead. But at least this would give me some more human meat. So while checking the comments on my video, I was pretty sure that the person commenting to be named Oleg was the first. So this man was named in his honor. So thank you for your comment, and I hope you enjoy whatever we have in store for him. Now sadly, one of the first things he did was go on an insulting spree, which I wanted to stop by imprisoning him and then letting him go. So I had to check what chance I had to actually doing it, and it seemed to be pretty good, so 74%. But it ended up that he went berserk. So now we were in a knife fight, which could lead to both of us dying. And this was not looking great. Thank God I got some good hits in, but I was still injured, so if I was winning this, it was not certain. And even if I could just bleed out myself, but I knocked him down before he could knock me down, and I started healing quick before I passed out. So I had to get this done very quickly and also prevent infection. So I made sure to clean around right before I ended up healing Oleg himself. But tragically he ended up getting an infection in his right arm, and with no medicine I was not able to heal it properly or to amputate it. So there was nothing I could do except retake his food rights and just have him die slowly in bed. I'm very sorry to whoever wanted his name to be Oleg, but I didn't mean for him to go out like this. And Oleg passing away marks the end of episode 3 of Surviving. I managed to finish the bedroom pretty easily. I used flagstone from nearby constructions that I deconstructed, because I hoped that this would lower my chance of infection. And with Oleg dying, I once again had some food, so I think he would have passed away anyways. So thank you guys for watching. Episode 4 will be coming out soon. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want your name in the show, then comment down below, but there is a bit of a queue now, but seeing as how quick my colonists are dying, maybe your name will show up earlier than expected. So thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.